Sorry about that. Someone called me and it cut off my video right in the middle because I video on my phone. What I was going to say is Conophytum and Lithops and a lot of Mesembs, but especially Lithops, are extremely slow dying, and which is great, but you can think that they're fine. You can get one and think it's fine because it's been, a few months and it hasn't completely died, but that doesn't necessarily mean, I'm sorry, it suddenly got extremely dark outside. And the wind is blowing like crazy, and it's storming, so all of my sunshine went away. So I don't think this little guy right here is probably going to make it, like I pointed out, but it'll probably take at least 4 more months for him to completely die. They're just really, really slow moving plants in general. But sometimes they surprise you, and even though this leaf isn't ever going to recover, they look like they're going to die, but then they split and put out a new set of leaves anyways. And so that's why I don't go ahead and remove these unless they're rotten or there's something that could possibly infect the others. If it's just damage that was before I got it, then I just leave it on and see how they do. Alrighty, you guys, I think that's all of the split ones that I have to show you. But, and I believe these haven't, well, actually, I'm not sure. Gonna have to double check. There's one of these. Oh no, it's not in this pot. Okay, never mind. There's most Conophytum are day blooming, but a few of them are night blooming. And it's kind of fun. And they tend to be the ones that are kind of flat on top like this, which I think is really an interesting. I love the bunny-eared, looking ones, and I don't use a lot of really technical terms a lot of times on these because I think it's pointless. I talk in terms of peas hanging off of my string of pearls and bunny ears and flat and round instead of bilobed and single lobed, because as little information as is out on these guys, I figure it's probably not very meaningful. And I know when I first started, I was like, oh yeah, the bunny-eared ones, they're awesome. And I still love them. So some of them look like jelly beans. You can see these are a little more elongated. Some of them look like little just grapes, very, very round. These guys are small. They'll grow a lot bigger. These are bilobum varieties, and they're a lot smaller right now, but I have some more mature clusters as well, and the bigger they get, the more defined the little indentation is at times. Alrighty guys, that's it for today, but if you have a Lithop or other Mesem split, as long as it didn't burst and disintegrate, which they can also do if overwatered, if it's just a split, what you can do is use a little bit of an insecticidal soap, or not a soap probably, I'm blanking out on what I'm trying to say. Even like a rooting hormone is great, because most rooting hormones have a little bit of antibacterial fungal prevention in them, and you could sprinkle just a little bit of that on the slit. Cinnamon might work just fine, but most of what is at the store marked as cinnamon is cassia, which is a tree that's very closely related, but it is not cinnamon, and it has quite a few different properties and can be pretty irritating to certain things, and I'm not positive on plants with that, so I would caution unless you know that you have true cinnamon bark. And I don't have a lot of experience with lithops because I haven't had them split, but with other succulents that I have had split, I have just doctored the wound with a little bit of cinnamon. And it's just antifungal and kind of gentle, and helps absorb a little bit of the moisture that's oozing out and help it form a scab, which is what you want it to do. The reason that splits and ruptures are so deadly, if it's not instantly fatal to the plant, is often because of what gets in the wound and it gets infected, and then the plant gets some kind of a systemic rot or infection, bacterial or fungal. And so if you have one that has split, doctoring it with a little bit of something that will help it coagulate, kind of, I know it's not blood, but just kind of scab off, and the sap to have something to kind of soak into and make a scab with, then a lot of times they have a lot better chance of recovering, just because their wound is protected, just like us. So it seems to me, I've mentioned this in other, I keep saying I'm going to be done here, but I've mentioned this in another video, but I want to mention it again really quick. It seems to me that the reason Lithops and other Mesembs are so finicky a lot of times with potting soil type mixtures is because they're just not equipped to deal with the bacteria that is in a lot of organic material, because they don't have it where they live. And plants are they either adapt, or they are, specific to the environment that they're growing in, and the environment that they grow in just doesn't have a lot of organic material in the soil. So there's all these great bacteria that are actually beneficial for a lot of plants and relatively harmless for lithops, but if they get a wound, a nick, a scratch, a split, then they seem to cause a lot more problems, and that seems to be when people are like, oh no, it suddenly died. And I think that's why that it has become, the popular idea has become that if they split, they just die. That it is more about them getting infected afterwards and less about a split being actually fatal in and of itself. So that's an idea for you guys. If you have a split lithop, doctor it up. And even putting it, if you have it in soil, putting it in something like pumice with some sand or vermiculite or other non-organic bacteria hosting type mediums. If you have a split, sometimes you want to really be careful and leave them alone and not repot them at that time, though, so just be wary of that. But if you tend to get splits and overwater, switch to a medium where there's not going to be as much bacteria, and the wonderful side effect is that you probably will have less splits because your medium won't hold as much water. All right, you guys, have a great day and happy growing.